guys. So, back again with another comic book haul. Went to the local store today mostly to get a short box so I could take some more books to storage, and went ahead and picked up my saver. So, figured we'd take a quick look here. First one we have here is the Immortal Hulk, number 49. I'm basically up to date with Immortal Hulk. I believe, I want to say it's ending with issue 50 or somewhere around there. This is 49, so remembering kind of where they left off, I could be a little bit off on that, because it doesn't feel like I don't know, 2 issues doesn't feel like it would be enough time to finish that up, but maybe, if they're gonna do an ultra-sized final issue, I could see that maybe being enough, so we'll see. But Immortal Hulk, honestly the best Hulk since the 70s and 80s, if you ask me. I didn't like any of that Bruce Jones stuff that they did in the aughts, but this has been great. So next we have Usagi Jimbo number 21, which is part 2 of 2, so I guess I can read the 2-part story. I do like how they've been, on the IDW stuff at least so far, they've been putting the story name and how many parts it is in the top right corner, so that way I can just sit on it until I know I have all the issues. So I guess I can read this 2-parter. As I've said before, I don't much like the color art. I do wish it was still black and white, but I don't think they're going to go back on that at this point. Next up, we have Moon Knight number 1, and this cover is ridiculously awesome by Steve McNiven. If only he was doing the interiors. This is by, I think it was Jed McKay, whose name kind of rings a bell, but I don't particularly know what else he has done. And the art is by Cappuccio, so I don't know who that is either, honestly. But let me pan up here a little bit. But this cover is ridiculously awesome. Very much reminds me of when Finch was doing the artwork for like just a few issues back in the day. Moon Knight's one of my favorite Marvel D-list characters, and it seems like they relaunch him every now and then and give it a try, and then it kind of spirals into obscurity, and then they leave it alone for a year and try again. Most recently he had a series by Max Bemis of Say Anything fame, which I thought actually was a good series. And before that, he had a couple series by, I want to say, Charles Soule, and before that, maybe Matt Kent. I can't remember exactly who, but he had a couple good series, but they were all on the short side, so we'll see where this goes. If the first issue doesn't blow me away or anything, I'll probably drop it. It's just, I just picked it up for nostalgia more than anything. I have every Moon Knight number 1 issue that there is. I don't have his first appearance in, was it Blade or Doom of Dracula? It's probably Doom of Dracula with Blade and Moon Knight fighting. But I don't have that, but I have all of his, number 1 premiere issues. So I had to get it just to round out the collection there. Next we have the penultimate issue of Strange Adventures. This series has been really good. I'm interested to see how it ends. so far it can do no wrong. So if it's by Tom King and at DC, I'm picking it up. And that's about the only DC I'm picking up currently. I don't like their slate of books at the moment. Batman and Superman I find to be the writing teams on those are not anything that grabs me at the moment. And Shazam I picked up until Jeff Johns was off of it, and now he's not writing anything at this time. Tom King has all these mini-series, so I'm picking up those. And then I keep waiting for them to relaunch JSA, and they hint at it every now and then, but they never get around to it, so I don't know what the issue is there. I don't know if they're waiting for Jeff Johns to have the free time, but at the same time, aren't they in charge of his free time? So, if the man wants to write JSA, let the man do it, but we'll see. At the same time, they've kind of messed with some of those characters to the point where I don't know if I would enjoy it. Like original Alan Scott Green Lantern, I believe, is when they did the New 52 and that Earth 2 book with the new reimagining of the JSA, they made him a homosexual, which is fine. That was a kind of alternate universe version of the JSA. But now that he's back to, now they're back to the rebirth, and he's still gay, even though he hadn't been forever. And he actually, if I remember correctly, had and I honestly can't remember if it was him or Jay Garrick Flash or the both of them, but I remember both of them, I think, having kind of a sweet relationship with their wives. And obviously, Alan Scott is the father of two heroes in the form of Jade and Obsidian. So, to change his backstory that much and to suddenly make him a gay character, I thought was a little bit of a stretch to me. A little bit of, let's just get some eyes on the book. Or, signal. I don't like to use the word virtue signal, but at the same time, that's what it comes off as when you just take an old established character and decide to give them a character trait that they never had before. So, take that as you will. Let's see, this is Usagi Jimbo, Dragon Bellow Conspiracy number 2. This seems to be a little mini-series. I don't know how long it is, but I picked up the first issue mostly because the cover art was so incredible. And again, it says Peterson down here. I don't know who exactly the artist is, but having a different style for Usagi, I really like the look of it. So we'll see what this ends up being. Old Guard Tales Through Time, issue 4 of 6. Again, this is what are those called? I've lost the word. But one of those books where it has a few different stories by different people. So you got Matt Fraction most of the time doing the lead story, and then you'll have a few people chipping in stories on the Old Guard characters. So these have been interesting so far. I don't know if they're really going to be horribly important when the third volume of Old Guard comes out. But in the meantime, it's surely something to remind you about the characters and keep you invested. So next we have Daredevil 32. I think I'm a couple issues behind, but certainly seems to be leading down the road to Kingpin and Bullseye for the bazillionth time. But we'll see how this goes. Right now Elektra is kind of standing in for just released Bullseye from like a Kingpin had him kind of like in a facility, and he seems to have killed everybody and broken out. So I don't know if they're going to at some point go down the road of having a Daredevil or Elektra Daredevil versus Bullseye, and maybe trying to do something shocking like having him kill her again, or maybe vice versa. But we'll see where it goes. Daredevil's been good lately. I'm not sure how much longer Zdarsky is going to be on the book, because he has been on for 32 issues, and that seems like a lot for Marvel right now. They seem so chomping at the bit to throw a new #1 out there that having a long series of 32 issues is it seems like them being almost holding back. Realistically, how many issues of Guardians of the Galaxy do we normally get nowadays? It's like 12, and then they rebooted. I think Thor's on issue like 20 something. Daredevil or X-Men just rebooted with a new #1. The Spider-Man they rebooted not too long ago, maybe a few years ago. But apart from that and some other stories, most of the time it seems like they want to do 12 issues and then sell a new #1 to people. So we'll see how long Chip here gets to hold on and keep going. If he drops off and they start over again, I mean, the big thing is, does that help? Does that help Marvel's sales in the short term to have a new #1? I'm sure it does. But what it also does is for people like myself who are trying to kind of bar down titles and to an extent, kind of remove themselves from the level of collecting they've been at, it also really gives us an easy jumping off point. Case in point, when Detective Comics dropped Tomasi and I believe, did they start a new #1? I don't think they did, but that team dropped, and so did I. And same thing with Action Comics. I stuck it out for the end of the Bendis run, which wasn't even that great, and then he dropped, and so did I. And that's been true with a lot of the DC titles, and then over at Marvel it's even more obvious because they don't even, at least with DC they keep the numbering. With Marvel they straight up, here's a new #1. It's like, oh, well, Guardians of the Galaxy, I think I picked up the 12 issues by the guy that's currently on Thor, who I look at as a newer writer, but I know he's doing a whole bunch of stuff for them. But when he dropped off Guardians and it went to Dugan, I think that I dropped off too, because here's a new #1 and it's a new writer and team, and if I don't trust them or the names aren't gonna grab me, then I'm gonna leave. I did the same thing this week with X-Men. Last time I picked them up, we had a new issue #1 after X-Men, or Planet-Size X-Men by Gary Dugan, which I didn't know was like a new jumping on point for this team. So, we had X-Men #1 by Gary Dugan, and I want to say some of the artists stayed the same, but I read that this week and it didn't grab me in such a way that I thought I needed to stay on the book. So I told them to go ahead and drop me off X-Men when I went in today and put issue 2 back. Hold on, somebody has stupid bass going like they're having a party. And of course, the minute I pause it, they stop with their bass. But anyways, yeah, I dropped X-Men. I was on that for Hickman. Hickman left. Bye-bye. X-Men's always hit or miss with me. Because sometimes they put people on there that are just like that 80s and 90s Jim Lee stuff where it's all visuals but no substance. And that first issue of Dugan, it seemed like he was trying too hard. It was like big ideas like Hickman would do, but when you really got down to it, it was the same old, humans don't trust the X-Men because they're mutants, and somebody's mad at the X-Men for something. That's not, Hickman was doing bigger things than that. So, yeah. Let's see. And finally, for my stuff, we have Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow #2. This is the new miniseries by King, Tom King. So, issue #1 was pretty good. It's more about this female character who he's created than Supergirl, so far at least, for issue #1. We'll see where it goes with issue #2, and it looks like this one's only 8 issues, whereas Rorschach and Strange Adventures are each 12, so we'll see what happens here. I haven't seen an issue of, now that I think about it, I haven't seen an issue of Batman Catwoman for a long time. I wonder if I'm missing any, or if that is on hiatus, or if it wrapped up. I'll have to look that up. But, yeah, Tom King miniseries are all I'm picking up from DC at the moment. Last but not least, now that that man has started his base again because he's a jerk, is Spider-Woman #47. I picked this up for my daughter because she was on a big Fantastic Four cartoon kick on Disney Plus, watching all the ones from the 90s and early aughts, and then she finished all those up, and she started watching Spider-Woman kind of out of the blue, and then she thought to herself, oh, there could be comics, because she likes me to take her to the comic store and buy her things. So I picked this one up for her, just as a gift for later at some point. Not immediately, because we just went a few days ago, and I got her a few issues of Marvel Action Hour Fantastic Four, which are really just like comic book versions of the 90s TV show, which are pretty hokey, honestly. So she just got a couple issues of that, and she's a bit more spoiled than we would like, so I'll be holding on to this one for a little bit.